Welcome to Voices in the Community, where we share the stories and conversations with the students, staff, and community members who make a difference in Franklin Township. I'm Dr. Chase Huotari, Superintendent of FTCSC, and today we're talking about ASCA, RAMP, and Comprehensive School Counseling, all the acronyms. We love our acronyms in education, and so we're going to throw a couple at you today and learn a little bit more about ASCA and RAMP. Joining me today is Kelly Anderson, Michelle LaRoche, and Jaci Greig, who are at Adams Elementary and the district level, respectively. First, Kelly Anderson, our Director of Student Services. Kelly's a true veteran of the district with over 25 years in education. Before stepping into her current leadership role, she served our students directly as a school counselor and as our district mental health specialist. She's a licensed building level administration and holds a Juris Doctorate from Indiana University. Kelly's been the visionary leader behind our district-wide shift to a comprehensive school counseling model, ensuring our systems are built to support every child. Kelly, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Next is Michelle LaRoche. The reason that we are here, the reason that I wanted to do this podcast, the school counselor at Adams Elementary. Michelle has a fascinating background. She spent 14 years in healthcare, working in memory care and mental health before finding her calling in our schools. She joined Adams in 2022 and in a very short amount of time has led the charge to make Adams one of the elite RAMP certified schools in the nation. She has been described as a counselor who truly plants the seeds for our students' future success. Michelle, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And finally, we have Jaci Greig, the true veteran of Franklin Township overall. Jaci is a Flash through and through. She was raised right here in Wanamaker and has spent nearly her entire career serving this district. As a leader, Jaci has been the champion for this program, making the tough calls to ensure her staff has the time and resource to put students' social, emotional, and academic needs at the very forefront of the school day. And Jaci remembers when Wheatley's was a grocery store. I did not know Wheatley's was a grocery store. I remember it as barbecue on Thursdays when I first got to Franklin Township. They were still doing barbecues on Thursday, breakfast on Saturday mornings, and then fish fries on certain Fridays. So Jaci, thanks for joining us.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks.
All right. So all the acronyms, ASCA and RAMP. And so, Kelly, we do like our acronyms in education. Let's just start just generalities around ASCA and RAMP, because when we decided to bring the ASCA model to Franklin Township, you became the champion for it. So explain to everyone what these things are and why, how they made their way into Franklin Township.
Sure. So RAMP is Recognized ASCA Model Program. And so ASCA is the national organization that kind of sets up this or gives us guidelines, I guess, for our comprehensive school counseling program. The recognition indicates that a commitment to high quality counseling and ensuring that we're doing what's best for students, and that Michelle has aligned her program with both Adams Elementary and Franklin Township overall, and our vision for our students. So several years ago, a few of us from the district, including you, went to an ASCA National Conference just to kind of make sure this is what we wanted to do, and came out of that meeting, said, yes, this is what we want to do. We want to this is what's best for our students in Franklin Township. So starting in 2023 through spring of 2025, we brought an ASCA National trainer and trained all of our school counselors in the ASCA National model. We know this model brings about better student achievement, better outcomes. And of course, that's what we want in our Franklin Township students. So as a result of that training, Michelle has really improved her counseling program and has achieved RAMP status.
Yeah, I did go to the ASCA National Conference. I can't remember what position I was in, but I remember Gretchen Brooks, our high school counselor, is like, you should really go. It's awesome. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what I'm going to get out of this as an administrator. I was just impressed by the entire thing because of how student-centered all of it was, and how many champions for kids that we have out there, and how our counselors and those that go into the counseling profession are champions for kids. So when we talk about ASCA, it is very much student-centered. Talk a little bit about how it is student-centered, the student standards. ASCA is the American School Counseling Association. Got that right. There's my acronym there. How does it stay student-centered? Why this model in bringing that into Franklin Township?
ASCA does have student standards. So what a lot of people don't necessarily know is that counselors have standards just like teachers have standards. And ASCA first put these standards out in 1997, but they were a culmination of research on what knowledge, attitudes, and skills kids need to have success, to be ready for life, to be ready for college and careers. There was a large research study to back this up. So we are using standards within our counseling program that lead to student success. When we, as a counseling program now, we intentionally look at our student data to see what our students need. And then we design lessons for all students and group lessons using these student standards to make sure our kids have the knowledge, attitude, and skills they need for success.
That's awesome. So we're going to shift to Michelle here. So first of all, I'm just impressed with all of it. Impressed as you as a learner. In our mission statement, we talk about purposeful learning, but you immediately said when you were talking in front of the staff did some celebrations for Michelle, and Michelle said, "I saw this and I said, I want to do this." And so I'm going back through your bio, and you talked about, you were in the private sector, and you said you wanted a career path to make a meaningful difference. And we bring in the ASCA model. You look at this RAMP certification, and I remember being in that room, and they're like, "It's a lot of work." And I think they said it's a lot of work 100 times.
It was a lot of work.
and Michelle walks out of there and says, "I'm doing this." Nobody, as much as they said it was going to be a lot of work, you were like, I'm getting after this. So awesome. But why? You've got a lot of stuff on your plate. You got a lot of things to do on top of the other duties as assigned that happen just naturally in a school and running a school as effectively as Adams Elementary is run. So why go for this? And, why the RAMP certification?
Well, with bringing in the ASCA trainer, it provided a much more clear overview of what a comprehensive school program looks like. And the training helped guide the direction of the program. So while we were doing it, I was thinking to myself, one of my goals since I became a school counselor was to achieve RAMP for my school. Why not do it now? This training was truly the first opportunity I've had to receive the structure and the guidance to really, truly understand the process. And early in the training, I did decide that I wanted to do it. And once I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And then in the back of my head, I was like, I tell the kids all the time that they can do hard things. So I felt like this was maybe a good time to take my own guidance and do those hard things.
That's incredible. And you're making it sound like this is the mentality everybody has, but not everybody has this mentality for kids. I want to go back to that kind of meaningful difference. You're making a difference in the private sector. It's not like you're not doing things that are making a difference in the lives of those individuals you're working with, but why school counseling? What made that shift in your mind other than you get after things in the mentality that you have? Why school counseling?
I hit a crossroads 15 years ago, maybe now. And it was, do I want to pursue older adults or do I want to go back to my original passion of working with kids? And that's when I decided my original passion with kids. And then I was looking at social work. I had a few friends that were school counselors. And then I also had a very personal experience with one of my children and a teacher. And she told me that I couldn't talk to the school counselor because my child wasn't a behavior problem. And that kind of hit funny even before I was a school counselor. And I felt like I could make an impact inside of a school. We sit at, I think, right around 450 kids in this building. And I've been in buildings that have even more kids, and just making an overall impact And going back to that planting the seeds, I feel like we do a lot of planting seeds.
Yeah. And so as the ASCA model and then RAMP certification came on board, there's a lot of data that you've got to collect. And how did that impact your overall view of a counseling program as you're moving forward in the role that you're in?
The data has helped drive the small groups and some of the classroom lessons even, and made them more intentional with the students that are being pulled for those small groups or what the focus of classroom lessons is. It's helped take some of the just teacher opinion out of it. And not that that's not important, but when we know exactly what we're looking at, we can help either decrease a behavior or increase a test score. So the data has been a huge help. And prior to this was probably one of my weaker points. So it's been a huge learning experience and gain for my overall professional counseling and comprehensive program.
Yeah, in schools, all of us know, but that those listening that have not been in schools and leading schools, everything can feel urgent. It can feel like 10,000 different things are urgent. And there's a Chinese proverb that says, he who chases many rabbits catches none. And that's probably what it can feel like as a principal and a counselor as you're in the building, is everybody's got the next crisis that you're supposed to be taking care of. And the data allows us to be a little more intentional with what we're doing to make sure that our kids are getting the most out of it. So we again, you as a learner, that's what I'm most impressed with. And just hearing you talk about how you look at these things. And that's smile about that, because that's unique. Not everybody has that mentality. Jaci, I'm going to shift to you, because the other amazing part was, I don't remember what morning we were at Adams celebrating the kiddos, but the staff came together to celebrate Michelle. And that says a lot about the culture of the building. And it says a lot about Michelle and what she brings to the building. So let's talk about the overall impact of a good school counseling program on a school, and maybe some of the adjustments that you had to make as a leader as she was pursuing RAMP and the ASCA model was coming online.
Well, what you saw that morning was a genuine outpouring of love and appreciation for Michelle by the staff. She has done amazing things with our students, and every time that she answers calls with students and works with students in crisis, she not only is helping the students, but she is also modeling for us, whether she knows it or not. She's modeling for the adults how to work with the students, what kind of vocabulary to use, and she's building things that last beyond her. She talks about planting seeds, and that's what she's doing. She's planting seeds with the adults too, and building things that will last. And her vocabulary has worked its way into our fabric. And so now she's not the only one who uses that vocabulary and those strategies. And it's worked its way into the way that all of the adults work with those students and talk to our students. And so it's becoming the way that we all interact with our students. And she's building lasting footprints by the way that she models and acts with our students. So
yeah, that's awesome. And probably the outpouring was just actually a reflection back of her and the way that she treats everybody else in the building. And, you know, we always talk about making a difference. And I thought in that moment, there was a reciprocal view of how you make a difference. Michelle, you make an impact on the building, and then the building comes back around and makes a difference for you, and energize. I'm sure that had to be energizing in terms of, I think I still have the song stuck in my head. I'm not going to sing it here, but I think there's still a hey, Michelle LaRoche going around the building right now. It might still be going on. Jaci, but you would have to make some sacrifices as a leader in order to really allow Michelle to do the work that needs to be done. And I think that needs to be put out there. So talk a little bit about the sacrifices that you and your assistant principal had to make in order to make this happen.
When Michelle first came to me and said, I would like to do this, I would like to go for this, my first question was, okay, what does this mean? What do you need from us as an administrative team? And she explained to me what the model was and what it wasn't, what it included, what it didn't include. And so we took some things off of her plate and we assumed those, some non-counseling type of duties that she didn't really belong on her plate according to the ASCA model. And so we assumed those, and that freed time up for her in her day to be able to address more students during the day, to be able to run more groups, to be able to answer more calls for students in crisis. And then also what we did was we brought her in more on data conversations. She explained the data components that she needed. And so we included her more in our data conversations, shared more student data with her that she needed to be able to help with those components as well. So took more things off her plate that didn't belong there, brought her more into the data conversations, shared those with her, and then basically just got out of her way while she did her magic. That's just kind of what it was.
Now, Michelle, I'm gonna come back to you because if I remember correctly, and it may be part of RAMP and maybe not, there were, the Gold Star counseling, I think, was the one that some of our previous schools had gone through. But you probably had to collect data on where you were using your time. Is that something that the RAMP model required as you were kind of thinking about what your model looked like?
Yes. So twice a year, once each semester, we do 5 days in a row of, it's like every 15 minutes, what are you doing? And it calculates the amount of time spent directly working with students and then the time spent indirectly working with students. And the ASCA standard is 80% of the time you're working directly with students, and then the 20% is indirect. And those direct services are small groups, individual counseling, it's collaboration with teachers, parents, and then your indirect is more of your planning, some of those fair share duties, bus duty, things like that.
That's awesome. So we'll finish up here. So very quickly, I like to keep these to about 20 minutes. And we've been talking a lot about our mission statement. So we make a difference in the lives of students, staff, and the community through purposeful learning and meaningful collaboration. But there's another level to making a difference. The mission's what we do every single day and making a difference. That's always our goal. But there's an extra level of making a difference where somebody goes above and beyond. We're going to finish up. Just tell me a little bit about somebody that maybe went above and beyond for you, or maybe somebody in your school you've seen go above and beyond, and what made that a make a difference moment that was above and beyond what's normal. Kelly?
Goodness. I've been influenced by a lot of people in our life. I would say essential to this process here specifically, we had an awesome ASCA trainer that while he came in and did the training, the 6 sessions over 2 years, he was always communicating with me. He was always communicating with our counselors and saying, what do you need? How can I help? And I can tell you, Michelle and I, after she texted me when she got RAMP and said, she sent me a text and said I did it. Both she and I both reached out to Brent and said, thank you so much for your support. You helped along the way. I also have to say, Michelle, kind of off topic, while she took this on, she was a brave soul and was not afraid to reach out to any of us, including Brent, me, probably her building admin, for help. And that's why she got to where she is.
That's awesome. It takes collaboration. It takes a village. Michelle, how about somebody that made a difference for you, or somebody you've seen make a difference?
This to me reminds me of our custodian, Nick. Like every call, no matter what it is, no matter how messy, or he's just always there for us, and always there for us with a smile. Like yesterday we were digging through trash trying to find something that a kid threw away by accident. Like he just, to me, he embodies that idea of above and beyond, and he does it all the time.
Whenever I'm at Adams, I will always just look up, and over my shoulder will be Nick doing something. He just seems to appear when you need him, and he's awesome. And he's got a great demeanor. So I agree with you, Michelle. Jackie, why don't you finish this up?
Boy, this has been tough for me, and I've really struggled with this. And it is hard for me to pinpoint one person, and maybe it's because I am the true veteran, and I do remember when Wheatley's was a grocery store. But it's just the visionary leaders that we have had here in Franklin Township that just keep me going, that keep me energized, because I do respond well to a visionary leader and very collaborative teams. And that is just truly what keeps me reaching and keeps me energized and keeps me going for the next level and keeps me reaching for excellence.
You're dead on. So we recently hired a new IT director, Matt Sprout. I'm gonna give him a shout out here. And I do my skip level 1-to-1 with him, and he comes in my office and he's like, "Hey, is everybody really this nice here? Or am I just a new guy?" And I'm like, "Nope, everybody's just that nice here, ready to help." And I thought that was a great embodiment of what we all are and how we work together. So I appreciate you guys today. Today's conversation is a perfect example of our mission in action. We talk often about making a difference through purposeful learning and meaningful collaboration, and the RAMP certification at Adams Elementary is the gold standard of that promise. It shows that when we collaborate meaningfully across district leadership, building administration, our counseling staff, we create a system where learning isn't just happening, it's being supported by data and heart. But as we heard today, it's also about the individuals who go beyond the mission to ensure every student feels seen and supported. And my three guests today are a shining example of that. Together, we make a difference in the lives of students, staff, and our community through purposeful learning and meaningful collaboration. And to all of our difference makers listening, thank you for all that you do, and we will see you next time.